Welcome to this explainer. Now, you might think the bank deposit slip is, just some relic of the past. But the moment you handle actual cash, this little piece of paper suddenly becomes one of the most important documents in your financial life.
And get this, did you know that a single, slightly messy wrong digit can actually send your hard-earned cash straight into a complete stranger's account? Crazy, right? It's completely true. And honestly, that fact right there is exactly why mastering this everyday banking skill flawlessly is an absolute necessity, whether you're opening your very first account or running a full-blown business.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to cover 1. What are deposit slips? 2. The step-by-step guide. 3. Common mistakes to avoid. 4. Personal versus business deposits. 5. Finalizing your transaction. And 6. FAQ and final takeaways. Let's dive right in.
All right, Section 1. What are deposit slips?
A deposit slip, sometimes you'll hear it called a deposit ticket, is basically a printed form that gives the bank its marching orders. It tells the teller exactly how much money you're handing over, what format it's in, and exactly which account to put it in. But here's the real kicker, and why this matters so much to us. It's not just a polite suggestion, it's actually a critical legal record under federal banking rules, like Regulation CC. Think of it as a mutual insurance policy for both you and the bank. It creates absolute transparency and serves as your definitive proof of the transaction if there is ever a dispute down the road.
Moving right along to Section 2, the step-by-step guide.
So how do we actually fill the thing out? Well, before you even uncap your pen, make sure you've got everything gathered together. Your checks, your cash, your exact account details, and obviously, a pen. Now, if you take nothing else away from this, remember this golden rule. Follow these steps in order. Do not skip ahead or fill fields out of sequence. It's literally designed chronologically, from top to bottom, specifically so you don't mess up the math. You're going to start right at the top with the metadata. First, write the exact current date, usually just month, day, and year. Next, write your full legal name exactly as it shows up on your bank account. Then, very carefully, write down your unique account number. If you're using one of those pre-printed slips from the back of your checkbook, that info is probably already there. But if you grabbed a blank counter slip from the lobby, double-check every single digit. Once that's done, move to the money. Count your bills and coins, and enter that total right in the cash field. Then, list each individual check you've got on its own separate line, putting down the check number and the dollar amount.
All right, now for establishing your exact net deposit, which uses a really simple math formula at the bottom of the slip. Once you've got your cash and your individual checks listed out, you just add them all together to get your subtotal. Now, let's say you want some of that money back as physical cash in your hand. You'd write that specific amount on the less cash received line. Finally, just subtract that less cash received from your subtotal, and boom, you get your net deposit. That net deposit is the actual final amount that gets credited to your account.
Which brings us to Section 3, Common Mistakes to Avoid.
Look, even though this whole process is super straightforward, simple human errors can turn into massive headaches. The most dangerous mistake is what we talked about earlier, transcribing the wrong account number and sending your funds into the void. But equally frustrating are just plain old math mistakes. Always verify your addition, because if there's a discrepancy between what you declare on the slip and what the teller actually counts, it forces a reconciliation right there at the window, and that will absolutely delay your funds. Another classic blunder, forgetting to write the date, which the bank really relies on to know when your funds should be made available. So take a breath, double-check that math, and make sure every single field is filled out.
Next up, Section 4, Personal versus Business Deposits.
If you're running a company, your deposit slip game is going to look a little bit different. Personal slips are those small, free ones in your checkbook with room for just a couple of checks. But business deposit slips, they're much larger, usually bound in these thick books and way more detailed. And why is that? Well, businesses desperately need a formal paper trail for audits. Some of these slips actually have sequential tracking numbers, so an accountant can track every single transaction. Plus, while a personal slip just has one single line for cash, business slips usually make you break down the specific coin and paper bill denominations. This is absolutely crucial for retail stores that have to balance their cash registers at the end of a shift. A lot of business slips also use carbonless multi-part paper, which means you automatically get a duplicate copy for your company's records without having to run to a copy machine.
All right, we're rounding the quarter. Section 5, Finalizing your transaction.
So you filled out the numbers, the math is perfectly balanced, and you're standing right there at the teller window. I cannot emphasize this next part enough because it's probably the most misunderstood part of the whole process. Your signature basically authorizes the bank to hand you physical cash. So if you are simply depositing funds into your account and you're not taking a single dollar back in your pocket, leave that signature line completely blank. You only sign the front of that slip if you put an amount in the less cash received box.
Okay, before you slide everything across the counter, do a quick check to make sure every single check you're depositing is properly endorsed on the back. A simple blank endorsement, just signing your name, works perfectly fine. Or you can use a restrictive endorsement by writing "For deposit only" right above your signature for a little extra security. Then, hand over the completed slip, your endorsed checks, and your cash to the teller. And here is the absolute final, non-negotiable step to wrap up your bank trip. Get your stamped receipt. Whether it's physical or digital, that receipt from the teller is your ultimate, undeniable proof of the date and the exact amount the bank received.
Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 6, FAQ and Final Takeaways.
Let's tackle a few unique situations people ask about all the time. Say a standard slip only gives you space for maybe 3 to 8 checks on the front. What if you have way more checks than lines? Don't panic. Simply flip the slip over and keep listing your checks on the back. There are usually plenty of extra lines back there. Add up the total from the back, flip it back to the front, and just write that combined figure right in the space that says total from the other side. Then just add it straight into your main subtotal. Super easy.
Now, while mastering this paper slip is an absolute must for cash deposits, business ledgering, and any time you're doing in-person banking, we've got to acknowledge technology here. Most modern banks let you bypass the slip entirely for checks by using mobile check deposits on your smartphone. You just endorse the check, maybe check a little box that says "For mobile deposit only," snap a quick photo, and the app takes care of the rest. It's a fantastic, convenient tool to have in your back pocket alongside your traditional deposit slip skills.
One quick caveat, though. It's really important to note that while these steps are pretty much universal across the whole financial industry, every bank and credit union has its own specific formats, slightly tweaked slip designs, and even specific state regulations they follow. So if you're ever scratching your head about a weird field, or you aren't exactly sure how your specific bank wants a check endorsed, just ask someone at your local branch. They are literally there to help make sure your money is handled safely.
So now that you know exactly how to execute a completely flawless deposit slip, from the very top date line all the way down to the net deposit, I want to leave you with this thought to chew on. How are you going to use this knowledge to make sure your personal or business finances are perfectly organized moving forward? Because at the end of the day, mastering a simple deposit slip isn't just about bank compliance. It's about taking total, absolute control of your money. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and happy banking!